We are here on Pure Country with Riley Green. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Congrats on the new album. How you feeling with it finally out? Because I think last time we talked, you were just starting to kind of tell people it was coming out.
Yeah, I think every artist is probably like me. You want to put new music out, and you're kind of antsy until you get it. So it's been a long process, obviously making a complete album and getting it out. But it feels great to have the new music out and fans and seeing their reaction, and be able to play shows and kind of hear them sing these new songs back to us.
Are you one of those people that drops an album and you're already starting to work on the next one, or do you take a minute to kind of soak in this record?
I don't think you ever really stop.
Okay.
I mean, especially not writing. You know,
Yeah.
you're always kind of writing for the next thing. But it takes so long to get an album together and put it out that these songs really are new to me, you know, as they will be to fans. And now it's such a different time. You can get music from so many different places. I think fans are really used to, like, more is more, you know, so you really got to kind of stay on the ball with new music coming out.
Is there a song on this record? Like, I know different around here. A lot of people that are fans of yours know this, but like you had already put that song out and then re-released it with Luke Combs.
It was the title track on my debut album. So I mean, it was a pretty popular song of mine, but having Luke Combs on a song never hurts. So it was cool to kind of give that song new life, and having it at country radio really does that.
And was that like kind of a shock to the label when you said you wanted to do that, or was that collectively like an idea that everyone was on board with?
I think we all kind of knew that was a big song.
Yeah.
And we'd kind of seen the fans and seen what the reaction was. So I think everybody was on board with it being re-released. It was a shock when I told him Luke Combs wanted to be on it, because I just texted him and asked him, but that was the good kind of shock, I guess.
I feel like collaborations kind of your thing.
This album's getting that way. Yeah, I mean, I certainly was. I did the song with Thomas Rhett, Half of Me, and did a song with Justin Moore. So I was the feature guy for a little while, and now I've got Jelly Roll on this album and Luke Combs. So yeah, I mean, anybody that wants to have me, just call.
All right, just let them know. That's kind of. Do you find it fun though? Because I feel like for a while collaborations were such a rarity, and now you see them happening a lot more. Is that something you plan on doing for as long as you can?
Like, I guess from like a marketing standpoint, it's kind of smart, because you get, you know, two different fan bases, especially when you do something like, you know, I wouldn't think that me and Jelly Roll was a feature that a collaboration people really were expecting. And I mean, obviously me and Jelly Roll are really good buddies, but it was cool to do that, because I think people didn't really see it coming. And I think that's what's cool about country music genre, and specifically, is you got Nashville, which is like a kind of small town, and everybody runs through there in country music. You don't really have that for other genres, so that's where these relationships come from.
So cool. And I feel like the song Jelly Rolls On is such like the perfect one for the record.
Yeah, you always need something kind of light. You know, I tend to write those like ballady type songs, tear jerkers, and this is a fun song, and it was perfect for Jelly Roll to be on for sure.
And so the title of the record, Ain't My Last Rodeo, which of course referencing the song My Last Rodeo, which obviously your grandfather Buford is kind of the story behind that song. Yeah,
that was something he told me before he passed away back in 2010. And it's, you know, you pick your phone up, I got a big long list of titles in there that stretches forever, and that was one from way back. And so I wrote the song this year, and you know, there's a lot of that theme in a lot of my music family, and especially my granddaddies and how I grew up. So it's definitely a meaningful song to me.
Is that song, like, is My Last Rodeo what you're saying in the song that he said to you? Is that something that actually happened?
Yeah. It's when he was my granddaddy Lyndon passed away, like, kind of abruptly, but my granddaddy Buford was in the hospital for a few months, and going to see him all the time, and I think he could tell it was tough on me, and that was something he told me, you know, as a kid, kind of losing somebody that was close to me, and that was the first like real loss I'd had in my life. So it was just a way for him to kind of put my mind at ease and know that we'd see each other again, and I just thought that was a really cool message.
And I was listening to that song as I was driving in today, and the sun was like rising, and I'm like, it makes me think of people in my life that I've lost. Have you had a lot of people reach out to you and just be connecting to that song?
You always do. I remember Numbers on the Cars was a song I wrote about my granddaddy Lyndon having Alzheimer's, and it was like, it wasn't a big song for me, but that was a song that fans really react to if you'd been through something like that, or you had some kind of story that made you think of that. So those songs will always be the ones that people come up and tell you a story about their personal life or personal experience, and that's definitely going to be one of them.
I've seen a lot of photos that you shared lately where you're playing shows and these young kids are like front row singing every word, and you've had the chance to bring a lot of them up on stage. Is that a surreal experience for you? Because you were one of those kids back in the day, you know, obviously being
I
a
couldn't
fan.
afford front row tickets.
No, front row.
It's definitely a really motivating thing to know that my demographic, whatever, these people who are coming to my shows are getting younger, you know, and it's like to connect with that vast of a variety of people and age groups is a pretty cool thing. And I was definitely a fan of country music at a very young age. My granddaddy Buford was one that kind of got me into, and it was a lot of like Merle Haggard and George Jones, like a lot of older stuff. But I just get them on stage to give me a break. You know, if I see some little kids singing every word, I'm like, come up here and take it. I'll go get something to drink.
Has there been one recently? Because I've seen a couple videos. They're actually pretty good singers. Like, has there been any kids that have like blown your mind that you've been impressed by?
All of them.
Yeah.
I'm pretty good about being able to pick which one's not going to like get shy, and like, because that's what you don't want. And I would never have done that as a kid. So you can see those like really bold personality kids in the front that are just like screaming every word, and it just literally steals the show. You know?
Yeah, for sure. I was listening to Chris Stapleton talk the other day, saying that when he was kind of coming up, he was trying to, you know, sound like artists that he was a fan of when he was growing up. Like Vince Gill was someone he tried to sing a lot like until he found his own voice. Was there an artist for you that, you know, you listened to so much, and when you started your career, you maybe, you know, tried to sing a little bit like them until you found your voice?
Chris Stapleton has the voice to be able to sound like the Vince Gills of the world. I didn't, so I didn't do too much of that. But I was such a huge fan of Jamie Johnson, and I couldn't sing like him either. But I just thought, you know, his style and even like how he wrote songs and a lot of that, I definitely had a lot of influences from him, and even some of the older stuff that my granddaddy had me listen to.
And you said I feel like last time we talked, your grandfather, was he a writer as well?
He wasn't a writer. I wasn't at that point in my career then. I wasn't writing songs, and I think he would have been a good songwriter. My granddaddy Buford was really witty and wrote poems all the time. He was just good with words, and I just think he kind of had that gift and maybe gave me a little bit of what I'm able to do now.
Have you ever gone through any of his old poems and like pulled ideas from them?
I needed to spend a little more time with it. He wrote a journal and every day, you know, and it was just simple stuff like Riley came over, it was hot, you know, or it rained or whatever, and we did this or that. So I need to go back and look through some of his stuff because there might be a hidden song in there.
Yeah, and a very cool story to tell for sure. You get to take out Tracy Lawrence on tour. What a crazy full circle moment for you. Is that wild?
Yeah, it's I mean, I would go open for Tracy Lawrence right now if he asked me to. I think I just called him first. It was such a cool thing to be able to do that. We've had John Michael Montgomery and Travis Tritt, Sammy Kershaw do some shows with us, and I just love kind of tipping the cap to those 90s country guys that I grew up listening to. And, you know, also they can go play a 45-minute show and play hits the whole time because Tracy Lawrence has a lot of big songs. For sure.
And you kick off the record, Ain't My Last Rodeo, with a cover of a Tim McGraw song, which when you sing it, I love when I hear an artist cover a song I feel like it's your song, which, you know, Tim must be proud of that. But have you had a chance to chat with him about that?
I saw him at Boots and Hearts out here, but we were kind of in passing, you know. His jet had just arrived and my van I was leaving in was pulling out, I think. But I hope he, you know, approves of it. And it's certainly that's always the goal for me. If I want to cover somebody else's song, you got to kind of have a reason to do it. And for me, it was I stylistically knew what I wanted to do with that song, and I think Dan Huff did a great job. Turned out awesome.
So good. And have you and Tim toured together or worked together much in the past?
We really haven't. You know, he's pretty busy, being a movie star and everything else too. I can't keep up with all the stuff he's got going on, but I would love to do some shows with him at some point.
I feel like that'd be a cool tour.
It really would. Yeah.
Put together. Put that in Tim's ear. I'll call Tim after this for sure. So obviously you got the tour next year, got new record out, but is there something that you're most looking forward to before the end of this year? Like, do you get downtime to kind of just soak in all the craziness of this year?
I hope so.
Yeah. I've seen you out hunting a lot lately.
Yeah, I got to go 2 days this week. That was pretty nice.
So not too much, 2 days.
Yeah, not quite as much as I would like yet, but you know, Thanksgiving will slow down around the holidays, and then Christmas. It's just always a great time to really kind of go and, like you said, just kind of recap on a year. You know, we've had such a whirlwind of just really awesome accomplishments the
Yeah.
last few years, even since I signed a record deal. So taking a little bit of time to appreciate that and kind of gather your thoughts and even kind of game plan for the next year. And I get a lot of my inspiration from being at home. So having a month or so off at the house will really help me songwriting wise and everything else. It's just a good time to kind of disconnect.
And you're not in Nashville. Your farm's, is it?
It's in Northeast Alabama.
Yeah.
I've still got a place in Nashville. You kind of have to be there to accomplish what I'm doing. But it's as far as where I live, I would say I live on the farm in Alabama.
What is the farm like? Do you have animals on the farm, or what's going on?
I got Carl, my little dog, and
who is the cutest?
Yeah, he's
dog
he's
ever.
something else. He just chases the pigs and the goats around all day.
So cute. And do you plan on, like having more animals and farming the land out there one day?
I just found out when I went home for a day last week. My mom told me that my yellow lab Jazz is about to have puppies. So
was that a surprise?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just really hope they're not Carl's, because that's going to be a weird looking dog.
That is going to be a weird. Yeah. I mean, if Carl made that happen, good for him.
Yeah, man. Carl's something else.
Good for him. So collaborations that you've done have been incredible, but is there one that you kind of have not been able to cross off your list yet that you want to?
I mean, there's a lot of artists. I'm still not too far removed from just being a fan, that I would love to work with. But I've always kind of imagined me and John Party would do a song together.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I
feel like find the right one.
I feel like I've talked to him. I'm gonna have to go back in my archives because I think I've talked to him and he had mentioned your name.
He better.
As being one of the ones that he wanted to work with.
Yeah.
So
we'll get him to say it anyway.
Well, yeah. Next time I talk to him.
Yeah, you tell him I said it.
I'll get it on record. Yeah, for sure. Have you ever thought about doing a Christmas record?
Just now.
Just now. Okay.
Yeah. I had a buddy that I don't know why for the last 10 years always told me I needed to do Christmas in Dixie, Alabama's Christmas song. A big fan of Alabama growing up. I don't know. I think it was like when I was in like school, they would make you sing all these Christmas songs, and I just hated it so much that I just have kind of put that back in the back of my mind. But maybe now that I'm an adult, we could do a Christmas song.
And I feel like a Christmas record from you would be the right vibe for Christmas time. Nothing too crazy, or you could spice it up and make it a little bit crazy.
That might be when I really go crazy. Though, is on my Christmas album. That's when I really come out of my shell.
What does Christmas time look like for you? Are you in Alabama?
Yeah, I'm in Alabama.
Okay.
All my family's right there, pretty close to my farm, so we spend a lot of time eating at my grandparents' house, and my sisters come in with all their kids. Kids run around everywhere, and I usually slip off and get a couple of hunting trips in, and so it's probably my favorite time of the year, just to kind of get back with my family, and then also get in the woods and have a little bit of regroup.
As a hunter, what are your cooking skills like? Are you coming home and creating new dishes with everything that you bring back?
I'm a very experimental chef, if you will. I like.
Does it always go well, or sometimes
no?
Okay.
It doesn't always go well. I got one of those like hibachi grills, so I like that thing. I feel like I can cook breakfast. Breakfast
is your go-to meal. I mean, even breakfast for dinner is still a good thing.
Yeah.
All right. So CMA Awards are coming up. Are you going to be walking the red carpet? Will we see you there?
Yeah.
Yeah?
See people doing this.
We'll see
I'll
you there?
Be there.
You're like,
yes,
I'll be there.
About?
Good.
Yeah.
I think I saw you there last year.
I think so,
I
yeah.
believe,
Unless I'm working on my Christmas album, I'll be there.
Yeah. Well, you know what? That'd be a good excuse. I would support that.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Christmas. Last thing before we go, your mom is someone that I see in your socials a lot, and somebody obviously who's been a big supporter of yours, of course, through the years. What's been the coolest experience that you've been able to share with her through this crazy journey? Because she's obviously been the one that kind of started it with you.
Yeah, Mom drove me to guitar lessons in Oxford, Alabama, when I was a little kid, and I don't think any of my family had any visions that this is what I'd be doing, but they were definitely very supportive of it, and same with playing sports and everything else. It's been really cool to see how much traveling they have enjoyed, and how much I was just telling on the way over here that they came up when we played in Toronto with Luke Combs.
Cool.
And they show up almost weekly at places I didn't even know they were coming to. But it's cool for them to get to see me play in these places that are in a different country, or way off on the West Coast or something, because that is what's kind of eye-opening. I played in had a pretty good fan base down in the Southeast for a long time, but seeing that it's really kind of, people are relating to it all over is pretty cool. So I love that they're being able to kind of go on that journey with me.
For sure. All right. Make sure you go check out Riley Green's new album, Ain't My Last Rodeo. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
All right. Riley Green on Pure Country.